But it gives me immense personal pleasure to introduce the first program speaker tonight. He really needs no introduction. He has one of the most storied pasts of anyone who has ever given service to this country. He's a former naval officer from World War II. He served in the administrations of both Presidents Kennedy and Johnson. He was in the Assistant Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Navy. He also, along with his delightful wife Nancy, is the proud father of David Ignatius, who is a columnist for the Washington Post, a daughter, Sarah, who ignited or reignited his Armenian passions back in a trip they took in 2006. And most importantly, he's the father of Adi Ignatius, who I went to college with, and I will not tell you any stories about. Paul also is, I think, appropriately our first program speaker, because I don't know about you, but how many people in this room have a Navy battleship named after you? He does. Give Paul a big round of applause for the USS Ignatius.
Good evening, everyone. Like so many of us here tonight, my family suffered grievously during the waning years of the Ottoman Empire. Members of my mother's family were killed in Sultan Abdul Hamid's massacres in 1895 and 1896, and some of my father's family perished during the 1915 genocide. Armenians grieve over the loss of life, the loss of identity, the loss of historic lands, and suffer deeply from the pain of Turkish denials. While Armenians will never forget what happened, life goes on, and one wonders what the future may bring. Will it be simply a replay of the last 100 years with continuing denials? Or could there be a gradual reconciliation between the republics of Turkey and Armenia? I believe that an honest normalization of relations would be a good thing for both countries. Turkey could gain international stature by acknowledging the truth, as the Germans have done, in atoning for the horrors of their Nazi past. For Armenia, good relations with its neighbors, particularly Turkey, is a key element in Armenia's long-term viability. While reconciliation is desirable, it would be extremely difficult to achieve because of the intense emotional climate on both the Turkish and Armenian sides. The situation is deadlocked with closed borders and closed minds. The Turkish historian Taner Akçam, who is with us here tonight, Professor Akçam believes that there may be a way to break the deadlock that comes from Kemal Pasha himself. In his book entitled A Shameful Act, Akçam says that Kemal admitted at the end of World War I that some 800,000 Armenians had been killed. That was the commonly accepted number at the time. and that the situation demands a thorough explanation and an apology. Ajram attaches great importance to these words, saying that Kemal's long-cited conviction that the new Turkish Republic should be free of the taint, both political and moral, of this shameful act could serve as an important model for Turkey today. So, where does this leave us? Will the next 100 years be just like the last 100? I believe that the answer is a cautious no, because the Turkish people are beginning to open their minds just a little bit. First, some brave journalists have been willing to talk about Armenian issues on TV and in public forums. Secondly, books about the Armenian Genocide translated into Turkish are now on sale in booksellers in Turkey. Third, it is important to note that the grandson of Jamal Pasha has published a book called 1915, The Armenian Genocide, about his grandfather's role in the tragic events of 1915. And finally, on April 24th of this year, there was a conference on the Armenian Genocide in Istanbul, where Turkish and Armenian activists commemorated the tragedy and looked for pathways to the future. If these and other examples of openness continue, Turkish intellectuals, and eventually a majority of the Turkish people, may come to recognize that pride in their nation requires facing the truth. No one can be certain of the outcome, but an effort toward normalization seems to me to be worth a try. How might such an effort begin? One way might be making Armenia a full partner in the restoration of Ani, the great Armenian medieval city, and seeking to make it the United Nations World Heritage Site. Another way could be a discussion of how Mount Ararat, the proud symbol of the Armenian people, could be jointly overseen in some way by Turkey and Armenia. There are many other ways to get started if there is a genuine desire to move forward. Of one thing I'm certain: Armenians have been around for a long time and are here to stay. I want to end my remarks with some brief words from two writers who were friends of my parents and occasional visitors at our house, Salvan Surmanian and William Saroyan. Surmanian, in his wonderful memoir, I Ask You, Ladies and Gentlemen, said, "I am an American citizen, sincerely attached to the Constitution, and I'll fight for America anytime. But I ask you, how can a guy forget his childhood?" And he goes on to say, "There are many like me tonight in a free and happy America, haunted by their early years." And secondly, Saroyan's quoted words, written some 20 years after the genocide. See if this race will not live again when two of them meet in a beer parlor and speak their tongue. Thank you.